settle down, come on class. Now, my name is Miss Glinda and I am going to be your new teacher. Oh, whatever is that? Hello, please could you write a story about a new teacher in a school secretly being a witch? Done. Ella and Chloe liked their teacher, Miss Glinda, from the moment they first set eyes on her. The first thing that impressed them was that Miss Glinda had a big, friendly smile. The second thing was that she always wore white. But best of all, Miss Glinda just loved cats. She had black cat earrings, a silver kitty pendant, a coffee mug covered in moggies, a bag with a complicated cat pattern printed on it, and a soft, fluffy cat head that perched on top of her pen. She even had a cat umbrella. This impressed Ella and Chloe no end. Miss Glinda is so much fun, stated Ella happily. I know, agreed Chloe. She's like the best teacher ever. Ella and Chloe couldn't have been more pleased. Then, one day, came the unexpected news that Mrs. Murdoch, the teacher from across the corridor, had been taken ill. Mrs. Murdoch's class was to get a new teacher the following Monday. What do you think the new teacher will be like? Ella asked Miss Glinda on the Friday before. Well, I've no idea, Miss Glinda replied. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. Do you think she'll like cats too? Wondered Chloe. Well, I hope so, said Miss Glinda. Naturally, all right-minded people do. The weekend arrived and Ella and Chloe forgot all about Mrs. Murdoch's replacement. In fact, they only remembered as they stepped into the school grounds on Monday and saw a teacher they'd never laid eyes on before. Unlike Miss Glinda, she did not have a big friendly smile. Rather, she scowled with her arms folded across her chest as if she disapproved of every single child she saw. Secondly, unlike Miss Glinda, she did not dress in white at all. Instead, her clothes were black. And where Miss Glinda had cat earrings and a cat pendant, this teacher had bats. Come along, you two, snapped the teacher. Stop dawdling. You're at school now. Ella and Chloe hurried past, but as soon as they were out of sight, they turned to one another and grabbed each other's hands. Did you hear that? Shrieked Ella, all wide-eyed. I know, said Chloe with a high-pitched voice. Wasn't she an absolute meanie? Later, settled in their class, the girls quickly forgot about the new teacher, right up until the moment the classroom door burst open and the new teacher marched in. Miss Glinda, snapped the teacher. I need pencils pronto. Where are they? Ella and Chloe were stunned by the new teacher's rudeness, but equally amazed at how Miss Glinda handled it, politely and with a smile. Why, Miss West, of course. I have some here in my cupboard. One moment and I'll go and fetch them for you. While Miss Glinda rummaged in the cupboard, Miss West, the new teacher, became distracted by the coffee mug on Miss Glinda's desk. She picked it up, observed the many cat faces upon it, and tutted. Here you are, said Miss Glinda, returning with a pack of pencils in her hand. Miss West took the pencils and left without even a thank you. Not that Ella and Chloe noticed. Their eyes were firmly on the coffee mug. When Miss West had put it back down, it no longer featured a multitude of cats. Instead, there were a multitude of bats. Come along, class, said Miss Glinda, picking up the mug and taking a sip of the coffee. Back to work. Ella and Chloe were waiting for her to spot the bats, but she didn't seem to notice at all. And yet, when she put the mug back down upon the desk, the cats were back in place. Did you see the mug? Hissed Ella at lunchtime, trying to keep her voice quiet. I know, said Chloe. It totally turned from cats to bats and then back to cats again. But, spluttered Ella. How? I don't know, admitted Chloe, but I think we'd better keep an eye on it. That afternoon, Miss Glinda was demonstrating a math problem at the front of the class when once again, Miss West burst into the room.
Miss Glinda, snapped Miss West. I need a highlighter pen quickly.
Again, Ella and Chloe were shocked by the bare-faced rudeness of Miss West, but this didn't last long. Both girls were on high alert, looking for anything unusual. Why, Miss West, of course. I have one here in my cupboard. One moment and I'll fetch it for you. While Miss Glinda searched in her cupboard, Miss West became distracted by the bag hanging on the back of Miss Glinda's chair. She tilted her head to better observe the complicated cat pattern upon it and tutted. Here you go, said Miss Glinda, returning with a green highlighter in her hand. Miss West took the highlighter and left without as much as a thank you. Not that Ella and Chloe noticed. Their eyes were glued to the bag. When Miss West had left, it no longer featured a complicated cat pattern. Instead, there was a tangled bat pattern. Now, class, said Miss Glinda, placing her hands on the back of her chair, as if she'd not just been rudely interrupted. I've explained the math problem, and now it's your turn. Ella and Chloe were waiting for her to look down and spot the bats, but she didn't appear to see them at all. And yet, when she moved away from her chair, Miss Glinda's bag was showing the cat pattern once more. This is bonkers, whispered Ella as loudly as she dared. I know, agreed Chloe. It's like totally impossible. The entire day had been overcast with thick, dark clouds. Now, just before it was time to go home, the rain finally began to fall, lightly at first, then steadily increasing to a heavy downpour. Oh, we're going to get soaked, grumbled Chloe. The door to the classroom burst open again.
Miss Glinda,
snapped Miss West, striding in.
Umbrella, now,
she demanded, holding out her hand. This was the rudest the new teacher had been so far. But this time, Ella and Chloe were determined to work out just what was going on. Why, Miss West, of course. I have one here in my bag. She removed it with a flourish and placed the umbrella in Miss West's outstretched hand. The handle was a curved cattail, while the panels were decorated with colorful kittens. And yet when Miss West snatched the umbrella and left, Ella and Chloe were quite sure that the handle was now a curled bat's wing, and the panels were decorated with colorful bats. The bell for the end of the day rang just as the door clicked shut. Chairs were pushed back, pencil cases were filled, notebooks snatched up. It was home time. But while the children piled out of the class to brave the rain, Ella and Chloe found the need to hang back. Girls, smiled Miss Glinda, aren't you going home? But Miss Glinda, said Ella, her face full of concern, you don't have an umbrella now. You'll get wet. Oh, don't you worry about me. I can take care of myself, she said, still smiling. Come along, I'll walk you to the bus. The girls were not looking forward to getting drenched by the rain shower, but they were just as concerned for Miss Glinda. Miss West was being so rude to her, and mean too. And yet, when Miss Glinda pushed open the school's door and held it open for the girls, the rain stopped. The clouds began to part, and the first bit of sunshine all day fell upon the ground between the school building and the bus. Come along, you two, she said. We don't want to miss it, do we? They'd not gone many steps when Miss West appeared, shaking out the dripping umbrella. Now Ella and Chloe were certain. The handle was definitely a curled bat's wing, and the panels were, without a doubt, decorated with colorful bats. But when Miss Glinda took it, with a polite thank you, it most definitely was a cat's tail handle, and the panels were, without question, decorated with colorful kittens. Confused and befuddled, the girls climbed onto the bus. It swiftly started its engine and pulled away, with Miss Glinda giving them a wave. "Are we seeing things?" asked Ella, shaking her head. "I don't know," mumbled Chloe. "It's all so strange." "So, what do we do?" Ella asked. "I think," said Chloe, "that we need to talk to Miss Glinda." The following morning, Ella and Chloe got in as early as possible. They found Miss Glinda in the classroom, sorting through a pile of textbooks. "Good morning, girls," said Miss Glinda, clearly unsurprised to see them there. "Hi, Miss Glinda," they both replied. "And what can I do for you two?" she asked, setting the textbooks aside. "Well, it's about your mug," began Ella. "And your bag," added Chloe. "And your umbrella," Ella said quickly. "And Miss West," Chloe said firmly. And then the two girls told Miss Glinda every detail of what they'd seen.
"Huh, that was very observant of you both," said Miss Glinda. "Nobody else noticed what you noticed."
"So it really did happen then?" said Ella with some relief.
"Of course it happened," said Miss Glinda, picking up her pencil with the furry cat head on the end.
"But how?" pleaded Chloe.
"Well, that's the secret part," Miss Glinda explained. "Can I trust you?"
Ella and Chloe exchanged a look, then nodded furiously.
"Good," said Miss Glinda, and tapped herself on the head with her pencil.
Shimmering stars tumbled down her body, transforming her clothing into a white gown with a white pointy hat. "She's a witch!" said Ella, her mouth hanging open. "I know," said Chloe, mirroring the expression. "And our new teacher friend from across the corridor is a witch too," Miss Glinda said. "A wicked witch, and I bet you're a good one," gushed Ella. "Well, it's not quite as straightforward as that," said Miss Glinda with a smile. "I try to be a good witch, and I like to think I am. And I like to think you two are good girls, or at least you try to be. Would that be fair?" The girls nodded. "Well, Miss West is rude and demanding and forgets her manners, but she's not wicked. Does that make sense?" "I suppose so," admitted Chloe. "But she might become wicked, though," suggested Ella, "if she carries on the way she is." "That's exactly right," smiled Miss Glinda as she tapped her head with the pencil once more. Her clothing returned to normal. "And it's my job, as a good person, to lead by example and be polite and helpful and show Miss West how to do things differently." "That's amazing," said Ella. "You're amazing, Miss Glinda," added Chloe. "Well, I think you two are quite amazing too. Like I said, nobody else spotted what was going on. Say, would either of you like to learn to be a witch? I think you'd be very good at it." "Oh, definitely," said Ella. "Yes, please," grinned Chloe. "Very well," said Miss Glinda as the first of the classmates arrived in the room. "Take your seats for now and I'll chat with you later." While Miss Glinda organized the arriving children, Ella and Chloe sat excitedly, clutching each other's hands. "We're going to be witches," said Ella excitedly. And Chloe, of course, said, "I know." The end.
So that you don't miss a single episode, just click that subscribe button.